In Kahuro, Kigumo constituency, Murang'a County, after armed police officers, allegedly accompanied by civilians described as goons, ambushed a group of leaders allied to former Deputy President and leader of the Democratic for Citizens Party, Rigathi Gachagua, shortly after attending a church service at the AIPCA Christ the King Church. According to eyewitnesses and local leaders, the group had just concluded their worship session when a contingent of police officers, along with unidentified individuals in plainclothes, blocked their convoy and violently dispersed the crowd using tear gas and live bullets. The leaders claimed that the officers accused them of holding an unauthorized meeting in the area and began to harass and intimidate them, despite no prior indication of wrongdoing. The chaos saw congregants and residents scatter in panic as clouds of tear gas filled the air, bringing the otherwise peaceful Sunday gathering to an abrupt and frightening end.
What have we done?
Kwa nini tusiende hivi? Kwa nini tusiende hivi? Kwa nini tusiende hivi?
Instructions by a politician.
So what is the problem?
Politicians are instructing you. Who has instructed you and what have we done?
So
what have we done? What have we done?
Polisi ndio wanafanya hivi. Funga barabara. Fanya hivi.
You know, it's crazy. I've looked at that. Those are bullet holes in those vehicles, because you can see it has hit the metal part of the vehicle, and it's a hole. So meaning it was a projectile, not a stone. It must have been a bullet. And it's unfortunate. I mean, you know, what I don't understand is this. These are jobs we've given them. So these people are fighting either to retain the job or to take over the job. And after all is said and done, we are the ones who are either going to retain their employment or hire somebody else in their place. So why in the world would you turn and start hurting the very same people who've employed you, or the very same people who you want to employ you? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, what is it in this seat that is so, you know, that you don't care whether the lives of people are lost? And I'm not saying just for the presidency, I'm saying also for the opposition. What is it in this seat? If I look at the salary, I don't think the salary is that packed enough to get you to kill your fellow man, a man created in the image of God. I really don't understand. So I always say all life is spiritual. Now, members of parliament and political leaders allied to the Democracy for Citizens Party have issued a strong condemnation of Sunday's violent crackdown by police officers in Kahuro, Murang'a County, terming it an assassination attempt and a direct assault on democratic freedoms. The incident occurred shortly after the leaders had attended a church service at the AIPCA Christ the King Church.
As we were joining the main road coming from the church, we were ambushed by the police. Without our awareness, they started eating our cars. One particular police officer had a very big stone and they eat the windscreen, so even the driver could not be able to see. But I want to thank God and my driver because the swift action actually saved us because he swapped and went downwards. Otherwise, during that particular moment, 3 bullets passed through the body of my car and I was particularly the target, and I believe it was an attempted assassination.
Everybody has a freedom of choice. We have a choice and freedom to associate with whoever we associate ourselves with. And that freedom is fundamental, it is in our constitution. We also have a right to dissociate ourselves with anybody we feel we don't want to associate with. We have dissociated ourselves 100% with President William Ruto. Nothing, absolutely nothing, will take us back to William Ruto. And let me tell William Ruto, so long as a bullet has not gone through the members of this team that you are seeing here, we will still be there telling our people to chase you home because you are the worst accident that ever happened to this country. Electing you was a tragedy of monumental magnitude. We are the one that elected you, and we are the one that will send you home. We just want to ask the National Police Service, if indeed you are meant to protect lives and property, why are you destroying properties? Why are you shooting live ammunition to innocent people who are peaceful? We even pleaded with the person who was commanding that team. If it is a meeting you don't want us to do, then allow us to go home. We are just from a church. If you don't want us to do a meeting, then allow us to go home. When I told them to allow us to go home, they started tear gassing, and they were tear gassing specific people.
Please don't kill us. Please don't allow security apparatus to be controlled by politicians, because politicians may not know how to operate. Let the mama mbogas of Gonda, of Gacharage, of Kandara, of Kangari do their businesses. The small businesses they do, you do not have to tear gas them. So we are saying it's a sad day, and I think we want to call on the International Criminal Court to come and carrying out investigations.
You can see the damage they've done. We've actually seen their attempts to kill people because we've seen cars that have bullet holes, and it's unfortunate that someone certainly did that. So we've been attacked, we've seen cars destroyed, they've broken our windscreens, they've broken our window panes, and for no reason at all.
Well, after days of uncertainty and fear, missing human rights activist Mwabili Mwagodi has been found alive, bringing both relief and renewed outrage. Mwagodi, who vanished under mysterious circumstances in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, on the 23rd of July, was discovered in a disoriented and distressed state in the early hours of Sunday morning. Dropped in the dead of the night in a bushy area in Kinondo, Kwale County. Now, according to Hussein Khalid, CEO of Vocal Africa, the activist, barefoot and visibly shaken, walked nearly 3 kilometers through the darkness to reach Diani, where he managed to contact his family.
Emerging from the shadows of a terrifying disappearance, Mwabili Mwagodi, a fearless human rights activist and outspoken critic of state excesses, has been found alive, battered, shaken, but not silenced. Dumped in the stillness of a rural thicket in Kinondo, Kwale County at 3 a.m., Mwagodi's reappearance reads like a scene from a political thriller.
Na sasa kumekuwa kubaya hapa kwetu, watoto wanatekwa nyara, watoto wanauliwa, wakina mama wamelia, wababa wamelia. And I thought, now God, it has come to my doorstep. So today I'm just thanking God. Yani Mungu ametenda kwa ajili ya Mwabili. And can you imagine yale mateso watu wetu wanapatia watoto wetu. Mwabili alikuja Kenya akiwa amefungwa hii kitambaa. Hii ndiye alitupwa nayo huko Kinondoni hii. Amefungwa. A whole manager CEO viatu mwanangu alivyokuja navyo ndivyo hivi.
Behind his haunted eyes and trembling voice lies a story soaked in fear. According to those close to him, Magodi was blindfolded, tortured and interrogated about his political activism. His phones, passport, laptop and even his belt were confiscated.
Tunapomwangalia hana alama zozote zile kuonyesha anaumwa, amegongwa, kuguswa wamesema wamemchapa hapa Kenya, lakini tunamwona hajambo.
Hati zake zote za kuonyesha yeye yuko Tanzania kihalali zote ziliweza kuchukuliwa. Ile residence yake ya Tanzania, vitambulisho vyake, mpaka kadi zake za benki zote zimeweza kuchukuliwa. Hata kwa hivi sasa hana hata shilingi. Alikuwa anatafuta matibabu lakini amepata shida kubwa sana katika kupata matibabu kwa sababu kadi zote zake ambazo zilikuwa ziko na pesa zake zilichukuliwa.
Pia kuna coordination kubwa sana serikali ya Tanzania na serikali ya Kenya. Na hivi sasa pia naufia ukiona polisi wengi namna hii kuna sense ya harassment na bado anajaribu kumintimidate, na ukimwangalia anaongea sana, yuko stable kwa sababu vile ameapitia.
His only protection, the courage that has longed to find his work inside Diani police station, he found no refuge. Only 9 armed DCI officers, an apparent attempt to redetain the very man who had just survived what they now call an illegal cross-border retention.
Hali yake ya afya anapata matibabu kwa sasa. Daktari wake tutasubiri mpaka wamalize harakati hizo, atatuelezea zaidi endelea namna gani.
Are we glad that Mobile is back as a family? Yes. We are glad. Are we concerned about his future? Yes. We are concerned. We're just asking for the security apparatus, the governance systems of this country to use the right systems of justice. That is our stand.
Reporting for EBN TV, my name is Kyoko Karen Blessing.
You know, I think there's something very unfortunate when another country like TZ now in the case of our country has the boldness and the guts to, abduct Kenyans and torture them and then again dump them in the country. It just shows the kind of respect that they have for the authorities here. Either that or they are working with the authorities here. Because if you ever dared to do that to a US citizen, then you would face the full force of the wrath of the American force. And that's why Americans are proud of their country. They will tell you there's no country on earth like America, because America will defend its citizens, to the last man. I wish we can start seeing some pride from the Kenyan government or from Kenya, so that people in Saudi Arabia will know that if you kill a Kenyan, you will have a big problem. They will not be having what we are seeing, girls being brought every other day in coffins, and it's normal. The Saudis have gotten to a place whereby they know there is nothing that is going to happen. If they did that to an American, there would be a lot of problems. We need to get some pride and know that if you're a Kenyan, you just know that if you are abducted, you will be protected by the states, right? Now, during a church service at the AIPCA Christ the King Church, leaders allied to the Citizens Party took a strong stance against government, sharply criticizing what they described as an ongoing harassment, political intimidation, and extrajudicial killing, targeting opposition figures. While addressing the congregants from the pulpit, the leaders condemned the recent government decision to reduce capitation funds for public schools, warning that such budget cuts would severely undermine the country's education system, which they said is already under strain. The service was interrupted shortly afterwards by violent clashes.
Tunataka tukuombe Mahali ulipata Kenya, iwachie hapo. Usiturudishe nyuma tena. Ulipata masomo ikiwa ya bure. Waachie hapo. Kama imekushinda wewe waachie hapo ili mambo mengine yaendelee. Ulipata kama watoto wauliwe hapa Kenya, wewe waachie hapo. Wachana na watoto wa watu wengine. Tutagoja siku nyingine, Mungu atatusaidia huko mbele.
Our children have a right to education.
Auditor General tayari amereveal ya kwamba zaidi ya bilioni 180, 183 billion hazijaenda kwa shule kupitia ile capitation ya serikali. Na katika Auditor General report bado kati ya shule ambaye wamefanya sampling 16 billion imepotea.
I have never seen a government that uses guns on its own children. Yani watoto, unaua watoto. The curse of these children, laana ya watoto na damu yao itawaandama until your own graves. Haiwezekani uwe watoto alafu on the basis of that blood that you have shed you want to tell Kenyans msimame pamoja tuwaletee maendeleo. Hiyo maendeleo kaa nayo, wachana na watoto wetu waishi maisha yao.
Tuongee na mzee Raila Amolo Odinga. Tumwambie mzee, umefanya kazi nzuri sana miaka mingi hii ambapo umekuwa siasani. Lakini hii siasa ya sasa unayofanya kuunga mkono mtu anayeua watoto wetu, mtu ambaye ameamua kwamba sasa masomo ya bure yataisha, Raila Amolo Odinga baba, umeharibu your legacy. You will not have any legacy to talk about at the end of it all.
Shortly afterwards, President William Ruto assured Kenyans that the government's plan to provide free education for primary and secondary schools will not be disrupted. He was speaking at a Sunday service at the ACK St. Martin's Church in Kariobangi, Nairobi, where he emphasized that free education is a constitutional right and reaffirmed the government's commitment to investing more in the education sector. The president further revealed that his administration is working to ensure teachers receive a salary increment of up to 29%. He highlighted that over the past 2 years, the government has strived to make education more accessible to all students across the country.
Elimu ya watoto wetu ni ya muhimu sana. Mimi najua askofu, tukijenga kanisa hii tutakuwa na Sunday school. Mahali wengi wetu tulipitia pale, mahali ambapo watoto wetu wanaweza kufundishwa neno la Mungu in their young age, na vile vile masomo katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie wa Kenya ya kwamba free primary education katika primary na secondary ni haki ya kikatiba ya wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na tumehakikisha ya kwamba in the last 2 years tumefanya mambo kadhaa to make sure that education is truly universal and truly accessible, because the commitment we have is that education is the greatest empowerment that any society, any country can give to its young people. And that is why education must be affordable, must be accessible, must be of good quality, and must be relevant. Na sababu hiyo ndio tumeweka pesa nyingi kujenga madarasa mpya. Kwa miaka miwili imepita tumejenga madarasa mpya 23,000. Hapa Nairobi peke yake niliwapatia wabunge wa Nairobi bilioni 1 kujenga madarasa mpya hapa Nairobi. Kwa sababu hapa Nairobi ndio tulikuwa na changamoto kubwa ya msongamano katika madarasa yetu na watoto wengi walikosa nafasi ya kusoma. Vile vile tumekubaliana ya kwamba mambo ya masomo katika university tumeongeza pesa ili tuhakikisha kwamba ile new funding model
inahakikisha hakuna mtoto wa Kenya anawachwa nyuma, wapate wote nafasi ya kusoma.
He at the same time reaffirmed his commitment to national development, stating that his 2 terms in office will be focused on delivering results for the Kenyan people. Speaking during a rally in Kariobangi shortly after attending a Sunday service, President Ruto declared that the 2 terms are for working. He assured Kariobangi residents that his administration is committed to initiating and completing key development projects that will uplift the lives of ordinary Kenyans.
Mimi nasikia mnasema 2 term. Ati mnasema 2 term. Lakini sikizeni. Hiyo 2 term ni ya kazi. Ni ya kufanya affordable housing. Ni ya kujenga mambo ya markets. Ni ya kupanga mambo ya masomo ya watoto wetu. Ni kupanga mambo ya SHA. Kila mtu apate matibabu ndio Kenya iweze kusonga mbele. Tumekubaliana? Ati mnasemaje watu wa Nairobi? Ati mnasema ni kazi bila break. Mnasema kazi bila break. Alafu mnasema nyinyi ni watu wa ajabu sana. Pale kwa affordable housing tunapanga ajira ya vijana. Pale kwa ujenzi wa markets tunapanga ajira ya vijana. Pale kwa kujenga barabara tunapanga ajira ya vijana. Pale kwa climate works tunapanga ajira ya vijana. Kwa sababu ajira ni ya muhimu kwa vijana wetu wa taifa letu la Kenya, wakiwemo vijana wa hapa Nairobi. Jameni, tuko pamoja Nairobi, tuko pamoja Kariobangi. Munasema tuungane, tushirikiane, tufanye kazi pamoja. Wale wanakubali tushirikiane, tuungane, tufanye kazi pamoja? Jameni, nione. Jameni, mimi nataka niwaenzi na niwashukuru. Sawa sawa. Niwashukuru ya kwamba Kenya hii tutaibadilisha kwa mapenzi ya Mungu. Tubadilishe Kenya iwe ni mahali ambapo kilimo inasonga mbele, tunazalisha chakula, tunafukuza njaa. Tunapanga ajira, vijana wafanye kazi, tuondoe umaskini. Tupange ya kwamba Nairobi hii itakaa kama sura ya Kenya, na Wakenya wote waungane wawe kitu kimoja. Kwa sababu Waswahili wanasema umoja ni nini? Si umoja ni nguvu jameni? Munasema umoja ni nguvu. Tuungane pamoja. Pamoja. Basi.
All right, let's take a look at the newspapers. We start off with the Star. Hustler Nation. Youth forge paths amid lack of formal jobs. It says Kenya's labor market in numbers. 782,200 new jobs created in the economy in 2024. That's what the Star says. 703 jobs created by the informal sector, 20.3 million total number of people in employment in 2025, 17.4 million number of those in informal sector, 67% unemployment rate among the youth. Police officers have arrested a boy suspected of killing the mom over dad's identity card. And the guy is 16 years old. Eh? Hey. 16-year-old killed his mom because he wanted the dad's identity card. For what purpose? Read the story. Justine Koskei, cost of drugs, pain point in health insurance claims, and then Kenyan farm helping families track their expenditure. Then you have Treasury orders audit on misuse of state vehicles. This thing, state misuse of state vehicles, hiyo tumesikia kutoka wakati wa Kibaki. Eyes on the prize, fast rising a teach, ready to double at a world championship in showdown in Tokyo. Then we have the Daily Nation. This is what it says. Exposed, police killings cover up. That's what it says. Then it says that court proceedings on police killings during recent protests are exposing attempts to conceal incriminating evidence in a pattern that has played out in past trials. A judge once rebuked the Blue Code of Silence, referring to a conspiracy within the police service to shield rogue colleagues. And then you have Ruto allies plot Mount Kenya comeback. President loyalists held meetings at hotels in 3 counties on Saturday to refine a strategy to counter former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's influence in the region. Police, goons clash with opposition leaders, meaning police and goons were together, then opposition leaders on the other side. When did you last hear of a tag team like that? Activist Moad Godi was tortured, injected with unknown substance. Now, if you read this story, it's a sad story. They say he was arrested, or he claims he was arrested in TZ, abducted in TZ, and then he was tortured, and the people who tortured him were telling him why he's causing ruckus in Kenya. And then he was handed over to the Kenyan authorities. Some guys at the border who also bullied him. He's now free. East Africa abduction crisis, vanishing voices of dissent. Big win for ex-NHIF staff as court settles pay. Now, you know, one of the things that I've noticed, learn from the church. Every time the church is persecuted, it becomes stronger. That's the strangest thing. And I learned from Moi's time. Every time the opposition, I remember they used to go to Kamkunji, and we'll be talking about this with Mureithi Mwito shortly. The Orengos of this world, Matibas, Shikuku, they used to go to the Kamkunji grounds. And the police would go and tear gas them and do all those things. And the more they fought them, the stronger the opposition got. Until one time Moi decided he was not going to send police officers there. So the opposition met with huge numbers. There were no police officers there. Nobody even bothered them. They did their meeting and they went home. Then the next public rally they called, very few people went, very few police officers even went. And he just died a natural death to a point whereby even Sabasaba, nobody bothers. That's how Sabasaba died. So the more you crack down and do so many things, you make heroes out of people who probably should not be heroes. The Blue Code of Silence, how police cover up killings. And then you have education not at risk, says Ruto. Then President allies mal strategies to win back support in Mount Kenya. Governors, MPs in legal battle over billions from roads levy. Then the back page of the Nation is Morocco first team to arrive in Nairobi for championship. Yeah. Morocco, my friend. The Atlas Lions will play Group A with Kenya, Zambia, Angola, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. These guys just want to kick us out, period. Zambia, Angola, DRC, and Morocco. Tafadhali tuseme we'll just go spectate. I mean, the chances of us beating Morocco are almost nil, as you will discover today during scoreboard. You will discover that our chances are very minimal in this tournament. Those teams, ni kama umewekwa na Brazil, France, na timu gani? Argentina na Germany. And then you are the host. Oh, maneno yako. Then the Standard newspaper says the 4-day ordeal, 4 men who abducted activist Mwabili Mwagodi in TZ wanted to know why he was causing trouble in Kenya. By the way, has he been causing trouble in Kenya? This is the first time I've heard of this dude. Okay, I know the sister, I worked with her. But I don't know. Maybe I've not been checking some of these things. Maybe they know something we don't know. They blindfolded, handcuffed, and drove him to a scene of torture. They stomped on his head and jabbed him with syringe. After the abuse, they dumped him across the border into the hands of into another ruthless crew on the Kenyan side. Meanwhile, a Kenyan scholar in the US has petitioned the UN to stop President William Ruto from addressing the UN General Assembly in September, citing his worsening human rights record. Then shock of Kakamega police post manned by only a single officer. So yeye ndio OCS, yeye ndio anabuko OB, what in the world? But we have so many police officers. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. Lobby group flags digital content pushing smoking to African youth. Then somewhere else, court halts KRC eviction, criticizes violation of legal process. US-based Dawn, I've already highlighted that. Police impunity raises 2027 polls violence risk, according to rights group. Coming unstuck, critics say Ruto out of his depth as he fumbles the presidency. Ruto, I'll protect children's right to free education. Then the back page, Harambee Star players ready to head Kenya to glory. These guys should be on Churchill show, because this, I think, is comedy. I really try to trust Kenyan football, I really do. But every time I've put my trust in Kenyan footballers, the Harambee Stars, Paka, I decided this is an ex that you don't want to talk to, you don't want to pick calls from. You just forget they exist. I hope something happens that makes me remember them. And prayers won't help them, by the way. These guys, if they don't practice, I don't know, it's just, there's just something in here. Anyway, let's see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Right, let's go for a short break. I bring in Mureithi Muito so that we can have conversations about what is happening in our country.